traits. He has his own style. And based on our previous topic, it could either be he is using as a person who uses his head or uses his mind or heart, which is the cognitive versus the affirmative or the mind or the heart approach. Okay. So looking at this, our follow, if you try to look at them down the line below, for example, D also has his own follower. He is a leader because he has his own followers. So in other words, this is a leader and these are his followers. He is a follower because if you look at the organization, you will never achieve the objective if you are going to work alone. That is really very impossible. And that's the reason why in the organizational or the management, there is what we call recruiting or organizing, in which case they really have to look for people who has different expertise. Okay. So if you try to look at this one, these are people who work for the organization. They have their they have common objective, but they have different type of skills, and along the line they're going to collaborate and combine their efforts in order to achieve a common goal. So therefore, if you try to look at this, the leader, whatever he say, everyone follows. Okay, if he says we will go right, then all of us will go right. If he will say let's go out or let's go to the left, and all of us go to the left. So in other words, there is no any other person who can gives the command except him. Just like, for example, if you are the captain of the ship, okay, the captain is the one who's going to tell you which direction at what speed. Just like, for example, if you are the pilot or the plane, okay, operating a plane, all right. So in leaders and followerships are fundamental roles that individuals shift into and out of under various conditions. Okay, so take note of the word various conditions, because if you try to look at outside of the business or of the organization of the business environment, everything keeps on changing. All right, take note of this. So in the real world, there is no such thing as permanent. Everything keeps on changing. So if everything keeps on changing, in other words, everything also keep on adapting, and that's the reason why there is what we call a strategy. Okay, now everyone leaders is a follower at one time or the other. So in everyone, each of them, they are the leader. This is also a leader because she also has a followers, but she also has to follow the orders of the person above her. Okay, so everyone leaders is a follower at one time or the other. Okay, he follows order by this. They follow orders, etc. So on and so forth. So it's a chain of command. This is an organizational structure in management. This is the hierarchy of command. Okay. So indeed, most individuals, even those in positions of authority, have some kind of boss or supervisors. So this is what I am saying. So in other words, he is on top, he's the manager, and they have should follow orders according to what is being asked by the person on top. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the styles of followership. So leader, okay, and followership. Okay, so followers or the subordinates. So there is what we call a critical thinking. Okay, critical thinking meaning you think, and what is a critical thinking? It involves about analysis. It involves about how you address problem by thinking of a solution. Okay, and at the same time, you need experience, and at the same time, you should know the ins and outs the angle of the every situation that you are in. Okay, so thinking critically or thinking independently and being mindful of the effects of one's own and another's people's behavior on achieving the organization's vision. Okay, so in other words, if you are going to think and let's say, for example, come up with a solution, you should have to look at the effect of the other person's condition. So, effects of one's own and other people's behavior. All right. So, whatever they say, if I will try to go back here, whatever their decisions would be, this greatly affect. For example, this is accounting, this is marketing, this is human resources. These are the basic department in a certain organization. So, if he's going to say a certain direction, so they have to look for a certain quality. They have to look for a certain person who has a character traits according to their vision and mission. Okay, so critical thinking, which means you are not going to look at your own self, but you are going to look at on a bigger picture in order to meet the objectives of the organization, which is the vision. Okay, so just like, for example, today you are a student. So what is your vision? Maybe some of you years from now, you visualize that you will become a successful person in this particular field. Or maybe you are visioning that you are going to be successful in terms of your own business. Okay, so whatever you do today, meaning to say it greatly affects to your dreams, to your visions, to your ambitions in the near future. Okay, if you are doing good today as a student, meaning to say it greatly affects. If you are going good, so expect that the result or the outcome, you will also be very good and you will have a brighter future. Now, if you are visioning yourself that you will become successful, but you are not too serious about your studies, do you think you have to reach your goal to become successful? Definitely not. So whatever you do things today, it will greatly affect to your visions in the near future. So critical thinking, problem thinking, solution. So when you think of something, basically you acknowledge that there is a problem. So other than that, why you have to think so much if you don't have if you're thinking for something for no reason? But however, when you do critical thinking, it involves an all like analysis. All right. So on the other side, there is also what we call uncritical thinking. So failing to consider possibilities beyond what is one is told, accepting the leader's ideas without thinking. Okay. So the uncritical thinking is the opposite. Here we tend to be very logical. Here we think to be very factual. Our decision should always be based on facts, based on information. Okay? When we think of a solution, it should also be factual. Okay? Now, the opposite is critical. Sometimes you don't think that much because you are too dependent of what is being told to you. Let's say, for example, I am the manager. Then all of a sudden, because I am my style is a dictatorship or autocratic. When you say autocratic, meaning to say, just follow my orders, just close your mouth and seal your lips, just follow my orders and do it. Okay? So in that case, if I am a follower, I won't bother to think. I'll just have to follow what is being told. I'll just have to do what is being instructed. Okay? So you might be asking, sir, which is better, critical thinker or uncritical? Okay, I will tell you there is no right or wrong here. It depends always on the situation. It always depends upon the leadership style. Okay? Because it's the leader who's going to set the direction. And the leader is the person who is accountable. He has the responsibility, and that is the reason why he is on top. So, whatever is the decision, there is no way that we are going to question that decision. We can only share, but we can never question because he is the one who is he is the person on top since we are talking about chain of command. Okay? All right. So all right. So let's try to look at this framework. So the person who makes this is Kelly or Kelly's five followers. There are four quadrants here. Okay, so there are four quadrants in between. There is a pragmatic. The pragmatic meaning to say it's you are in the middle, in between, connected to being this one. All right. So there's what you call active, on top, independent, critical. Dependent and critical. Passive follower, and the conformist. So this framework shows there are followers who are very passive. There are also followers who are very independent. When I say independent, they think of their own. They are very logical, and there is dependent critical. So this type of followers here, they are just dependent on what is being dependent on what action they are going to do. Okay, there will not being any instruction if they're going to do are not being given any instruction, they will never move. I'd be asking, so are these which of the followers are good and which of the followers are not. So I would say again, if you are there is no good or bad follower. It is always your challenge to decide which of the followers
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. No, sir. I'm sorry because your son was delayed. Little, sir. Yes, sir, maybe. I'm sorry. No, I can hear
No,
that
no, this
screen.
one, this slide here. So
Yes,
we discussed this already, right? This one is okay, right?
yes,
Okay. So the next slide is this. So this one is not clear to you, right?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, so from here, this is the next slide. So, according to Kelly's five followership styles, there is a four quadrant. So, when I say four quadrant, it's being divided into four. So, this is the first quadrant here. There is what we call the alienated follower, effective follower, passive follower, conformist, and there is a pragmatic survivor. So, we were talking here about the different types of followers. So on top, there is what we call independent, uncritical, and there is also what we call here dependent and uncritical. On the other side, there is a passive behavior and active behavior. All right? Okay? Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, this is now the challenge of a leader. For example, can you choose the type of follower you want? No, you cannot, because in the organization, it's very complex because we came from the different types of environment. And remember this one, our own behavior uh, came from the environment that formed us. Okay, so some of the followers, we might have a passive, we might have an active. Okay, so it's also the same as you student. There are students who are very active, there are students who are very passive, there are students who are very independent, and there are some dependent. So also as you are working in the organization. Now, the challenge of a leader is to blend them together, but it is very challenging on the part of the leader because he has to know his followers. Okay? Now, you might be saying, if you are a leader, oh, as much as possible, we will all hire active and dependent. In some other cases, yes, there are some organizations that they are very choosy in terms of hiring people. But however, in terms of the behavior, you cannot say and judge right there and then because you can never discriminate people. Okay? There are passive followers who are very productive because they work when they are given, for example, a certain assignment. So in other words, it could either be you are passive or you're active or you're independent, you are dependent. You can see these followers inside the organization, but it is always a challenge of a leader to blend this type of followers. Okay, so you might be asking, sir, what do we mean by alienated? What do we mean by effective? What do we mean by passive? What do we mean by conformist? Since we were discussing already what is critical and uncritical, meaning to say we will try to know more of who are these people when we say a follower who is alienated, a follower who is effective, a follower is passive by looking at this. All right. So do you see this now and do you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, let's try to talk about passive followers. So who are these followers? These followers, these are people or these are employees who lacks commitment and require constant supervision from the leader. Okay? So it's very clear. These are employees or these are followers who lacks commitment and require constant supervision. So, in other words, the work of the supervisor is always to keep on monitoring them. Does not necessarily mean that maybe they are not productive, but they are just very, very passive. Can you do something about it? Yes, maybe for training, but that is really their characteristics. These passive followers, sometimes they score low in independent thinking and level of engagement. These are their capacity, okay? Score is low in independent. So when you say score of low is independent, meaning they are dependent. Okay, do you get the point? So you see the difference between independent and dependent. So meaning to say, these passive leaders, they are dependent, meaning they are just relying on what you are saying. opposite of those people who are oh, okay, this is a difference between independent and dependent. So meaning to say, passive, they are dependent, they are not independent. So dependent is trying to look at or trying to always depend on the instructions, while the independent, they can work on their own. Okay, their level is high as compared to passive. Okay, now the conformist followers, these are followers or these are employees, are content to take orders, to defer to their leaders. They do not question the decisions or actions of the leader. They score high in active engagement and low independent thinking. Okay? So that is very clear. Huh? This one is score is low in independent. Here is they are their score is high in engagement. In other words, they tend to perform, but they don't sometimes think, they just obey, they just follow, they don't complain. Do you get the point, class? Hello? Hello. Am I still on air?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the pragmatic followers, they question their leader's decision, but not too critically and not very often. Okay. So see the difference. A follower passive, conformist, the pragmatic, they question leaders. Their score is middling in independent thinking and middling in terms of engagement. They normally ask questions. They normally express what is it in their mind. Okay, so these are the difference. So passive, conformist, and pragmatic. So here, their score is middling in independent thinking and middling in terms of engagement. So they are just in between. It's a mid, independent, and in terms of engagement. Here, the conformists, they engage, they work well. They don't ask questions, but here, they're in between. They engage half, but they normally ask questions. Okay? Now, let's move to the alienated followers. This type of employees or this type of followers think freely and critically, but they do not participate in groups and organizations of which they are members, often questioning the decisions and actions of the leader. They score high in independent thinking and low in active engagement. Okay, so do you see the difference now? The alienated, they are not happy to be part of the group because they are quite independent. They think that they can do on their own. Okay, so they score high in independent thinking and low in active engagement. Why? Because they think that they are better than the others. All right, so I can do it on my own. I can work alone. This is the type of followers. Now, what about the exemplary or effective followers? So take note of this: the passive, conformist, pragmatic, alienated, and exemplary. So the exemplary effective followers, they exercise independent critical thinking, separate from the leader or group, taking initiatives, and how actively engaged they score in high. They score high across the board. Okay, so when you try to look at their differences, the exemplary followers, they think independently. Okay, they are they are critical thinkers. They know how to distinguish and put themselves in every situation, and they always think and do some initiatives and suggestions. In short, this is the exemplary, meaning to say excellent. They have no differences in terms of engagement. They have no problem in terms of to become independent. They have no problem in terms of thinking because he can manage, he can blend himself to the other type of groups, and he is happy, and that's the reason why they are part of the group. Okay, so they are very effective in terms of producing output. Okay? So, you are in the organization, if you are in the organization and you are a leader, you have to know the different types of leaders, because because in such organization, by knowing them, you can come up with your strategy. In running the organization, you can never see that all employees are not solely leader. Okay, so you can just see an organization how complex it is, and that is the reason why, based on our, okay, do you get my point? Do you still hear me? Yes. They still hear me? Am I still on air? Hello? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
They
Your
still
co-
hear
yes, but maybe your connection unstable again, sir.
hear me? Yes. Yes. Okay. Class, are you there? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sure.
Your connection, sir.
They still hear me? Hear me? Yes. Am I still on air?
Yes, your signal is
Am I still clear
lost,
to you?
sir.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, sure.
Sir.
Hello? This is the problem with technology.
Yes, sir. Hello,
Here.
sir.
All right. Do you still hear me, class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Hello, 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 hello.
Yes,
Hello,
hello,
sir.
sir. I'm here. You.
You hear me? Hello? Do you still hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sure.
mean, sir.
Me, class? Class? Hello? Hello, hello.
Hello, sir.
Please acknowledge if you still hear me. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I'm really sorry about that. Then. Hmm. Still understand? Hello? Hmm. Oh my God, what happened? Not clear enough, sir. Oh, hello. Oh my God. Hello? Okay. Okay, hello. Internet connection, my God. All right, so shall I proceed?
Now clear, sir.
Okay. I don't hear you. All right, okay. So let's proceed. I'm sorry about it. Now here, so we discussed too. Okay, so this is the required characteristics of and leadership. So the leadership, okay, authority, positive attitude, discipline, courtesy, patriotism. Okay, so if we will try to look at this, if you are a leader, you have to respect for authority. Meaning, on behalf of you, you have to respect. Okay, so you have to listen. Okay, you have to do what is being instructed on the person that is above you, or meaning to say, it is your superior or it is your boss. Because people will always look at your attitude as well. Because you have a followers, and you also right. So in other words, if you are a person who has the highest, yes, if you're a person who has the highest integrity, whether somebody is looking at you or not, you still have to or okay. So, oh my God. Yeah, but I cannot do any. Okay. All right. So if you are following the leader, of course, you listening, loyalty, wondering why is there is no pet here. All right. So the key to be an effective follower is independently and critically thinking what your superiors tells you, rather than dwelling on the shortcomings of others. You can look for or a follower. Let's proceed. All right. So as a follower, responsibility. I'll just have to slow down. Okay. So you can assume responsibility for your own personal performance. You can look for opportunities to make difference. Seek to meet organizational needs. So in this the role of a leader and at the same time. Okay. So as a follower, it take good care of your behavior. Your responsibility to work for your own performance because as a follower, your development will give you opportunity. And but if your but if your organizations will grow performance, okay, all right. So I'm going to proceed, all right. Sorry about the connection. Sorry, it's beyond my control. Okay. All right. Let's try to look at the demands on the effective follower. Okay. Take note of this. This one is the effective. If you try to look at this, the passive conformity. So basically, looking at this. Okay. So demands on effective follower. Effective followership is not always easy. Followers sometimes experience an even greater need. In other words, challenge on the part of the leader because it is if the follower, if the effective leader will no longer be happy, there is the tendency that they have to leave the organization. Okay, so instead they initiate opportunities through which they can achieve personal fulfillment, exercise potential, provide organization the fullest extent of their capabilities. So, an effective follower do not think that they are just there to contribute. Do not just there that they are work. They're also looking for their own personal growth. Okay, so that's the reason why they work so hard. They have to prove to the leaders that they are worth because they also have a motivation to work themselves for them to grow as well. So while they are having the sense of ownership, they also have their own fulfillment. Okay, to satisfy their dreams, to satisfy their goals. So it is always the challenge of the leader that they have to take good care and know this follower very well. Okay? All right. Okay, next. So, the courage to serve an effective follower discerns the needs to organize. So, what do we mean by discerns? They think. All right? So, they are thinkers. They have to examine whether this is wrong or this is right. And once they come up with a certain decision already, they will actively seek to serve those needs. So, they are willing to serve. So just as leaders can serve. So meaning to say, these effective followers, they can be a potential leaders along the way. So that's the reason why they are working so hard. Their engagement is very high. They produce quality output because in the long run, they are looking themselves also that they have to grow in the organization. Okay? So follower can provide strength to the leader supporting leaders or leaders decision by the contribution to the organization, just like this one. If you are a follower, you always give your assistance, you always give your help, you support, you give advice, and of course the solution. So um, an effective follower equates the effective leader as well. So if they can blend and work together, these are a good combination for the growth of the organization. But take note, a leader, it's not just an easy job. It's not just an easy work because you are dealing with the different types of followers, such as active, passive, and independent or the dependent. Okay, so the challenge to courage, the courage to challenge. So, although effective followers serve and support others, they don't need sacrifice their personal integrity on good of the organs in order to maintain harmony. All right, so try to look at this one. An effective follower, since they are very independent, they take ownership, they have a very high engagement, they are willing to stand up on questions. Okay, they are willing to stand up and questions. Okay, they tend to ask the decisions of the organization is being clarified and clear to them. So if a leader's action and decisions contradict best interest of the organization, they take ownership, they decide and clear to them. So if a leader's action and decisions contradict best interest of the organization, effective followers take stand. So meaning to say, if you are having an effective follower, if you are having an effective follower and you are the leader, and then that particular follower questions you, meaning to say, you don't have to agree or disagree. You just have vision of the organizations or what is being mandated. So meaning to say, it could either be you're a follower or a leader being instructed by the upper management of the strategy or the policies. Okay, now the courage to participate in transformation, effective followers view the struggle of corporate change and transformation experiences. I'm sure you know what is transformation. Okay, transformation is all about. So meaning to say, there is creativity, there is are new ideas, and there are also changes in order to modify or change whatever is being there, being used as a guidelines. Let's say a policy, for example, a strategy. Okay, there are some changes, and these changes happens only if there is a teamwork between the leader and at the same time a follower. So if you're trying to look at the corporate change and transformation, this one cannot be shared by this one happens only if it is being shared by all members in the organization. Meaning to say, whether you are a manager, you are a supervisor, or you are a follower, or you are a staff, whatever the be, you are part of the transformation or change of the organization. Okay, so when the organization undergoes a difficult transformation, effective followers support the leader in the organization. So all of us. So meaning to say, whether what type of what type of follower you are, whether you are passive, you are critical, or you are active, you are independent, all of us should always contribute something to the organization because you are there. Okay, you are part of the team. It is your responsibility to collaborate to one another. Okay, so sometimes worst comes to worst, there is also the courage to leave. So some of the followers, they have they have the courage to more this change, or they have the courage to leave the organization. And you might be asking, what are those reasons why they leave the organizations? Okay, it could either be they are no longer happy, they are no longer they are not satisfied of what's going on in the organization, or the follower is no longer happy because he's having a bad relationship with one another, the colleague, and at the same time, or even the leader. Okay, so organizational or personal changes create a situation in which follower must withdraw, or shall we say, the follower will resign and leave the organization. Okay. Sometimes followers and leaders have such strong differences in opinion. Basically, that's the point. So that's the reason why you're a leader. You really have to educate yourself as well. Okay. So you have to learn and you have to get to know your followers very well. Okay. Now, in developing personal potential, how do followers expand to be critical, independent thinkers, or who make active contributions to their organization? So, developing personal potential. So, it is always a challenge of the leader to develop and identify the potential of the follower, because as what I am saying a while ago, if the follower no longer be happy, there is a tendency that he's going to quit his job, or he will be and find you somewhere else. Okay? So this is really very critical. So remember this one. Every employee, every follower, while there is an organization goal, let us not forget that there is also a personal goal, which is to move upward. Okay? So followers can expand their own possibilities by developing and applying personal leaders qualities in both private and work life. So if you are a follower, don't just depend on what you have learned inside the organization, but you should have to explore somewhere and help yourself so that you will also grow. Okay? So we are talking here about the effective follower. Okay? Not just a passive one. Okay? All right, next. Now, there are 7 habits of highly effective people. So, number 1, you have to be proactive. What do we mean by proactive here? Proactive means more than merely taking initiative, it means being responsible for your own life. Proactive people recognize that they have the ability to choose and to act with integrity. So, what I'm saying about proactive, if you are trying to be proactive, you have your own vision, what will happen in the near future. And that's the reason why you are doing something, you are making good because you are preparing something, or you are eyeing something to uplift your life, to make change, for example, on everything that you do that makes you happy. Okay? So, just like, for example, if you're a person who would like to be somebody out there in the industry, so you have to prepare yourself. You have to learn more. You have to make connections as well. All right. So, number 2, begin with begin with the end in mind. Okay? So, what is this? How do you call this one? So, it means that to start with a clear mental image of our destination, clarifying goals and plans, these habits entails establishing guiding principles and values of achieving them. So, meaning to say, it starts and it ends within yourself. The way you think and the way you do things, it depends upon doing it by yourself. So in this case here, everything is within your hands. If you want to become successful, then do something about it. If you are a person who wants to be stagnated, then don't do it. Okay? So, in other words, we are all have the options whether to do good or not to do it at all. So, success of people, okay, it always depends on the things that we do and the way that we it depends upon the way we think and the things that we do normally. Because sometimes we might have a ambitions. We want to be somebody out there. But the point here is you are not doing something about it. Okay? All right. Do you still hear me? Hello? I guess so. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So think win-win. Okay. Put first things first. So encourages people to gain control of time and event by relating them to their goals and by managing themselves results oriented. So this is what we mean by we have to manage okay. So we set our priorities. What comes first? Is it step one, step two, step three, or you have to fast track or you are going to procrastinate and causing the delay. It all depends on what you're going to do and what you would like to think about. And the other one here is think win. Okay. Effective people should always look at themselves as winners. Okay. So sometimes they also acknowledge that there are things that it's happens beyond their control. It's not all of the time that they win. There are sometimes also that they lose, but they always open up their mind. Okay, so to think win-win means understanding that without cooperation and organization cannot succeed. Win-win is a frame of mind and heart that seeks agreements or solutions that are mutually beneficial, satisfying. Remember this: a person who thinks win-win, he is using his mind and his heart. Okay? In other words, what we were talking about last time is about what type of leader you are. Are you a person who use your mind or you use your heart? Okay? All right. So I hope that you still hear me, huh? Okay? Still hear me? Hello? Okay. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Now, okay. So I'm really sorry. Internet connection is beyond my control. Anyway, you will have presentation. Okay. All right. So the first is to seek to understand, then to be understood. Okay. So it is given the fact that if you're working in the organization, we have different types of trades. Even though you are a follower, there are things that we don't agree. Sometimes we really disagree of things. But as the number then to be understood. Okay. So meaning to say, before we come up with the point of the other. Okay. If you want to be understood, meaning to say, it's the same way. So that is actually what we call it is understood is the communication here. Communication is a two-way process. You have to understood as well. Okay. So many people don't listen. Take note, many people don't listen with the intent to understand. This is now the problem. Because if you're talking about communication, meaning to say, if you are saying your side, when they are talking of something, it is your side that you have to listen at what they are saying as well. An effective leader's way of thinking. Okay, so let's proceed. Synergy combined, this is a combined action. Take note, a combined action that occurs. Take note. Okay, so synergy is combined, it's a combination of actions that occurs when the effort of three, the effort of five, so on and so forth will be put together and it will come up with a solution. All right. So therefore, to come up with a solution, one person. It came from the different mindsets. Okay. So because as a group of people and they are team, we are all team here. So in other words, whatever you can contribute, you contribute. I will have the synergy. Take note, synergy is the effort of one, the effort of two, put them together, and it will come up with a solution. We will come up with something in order to address some of the issues. Okay. So the other one here is the sharp the saw. Okay. Now, If you are a carpenter, you know what saw is all about. If you see a carpenter cutting the wood, saw. So if you're trying to look at a person, where can you find a saw? So a saw physical. A saw here refers to your physical of your life. Okay? So this is what we mean here by sharpening the saw. You have to pray hard because our life does not only consist of physical. Of course, you have to improve your life in engaging others because other people as well. So by that means, an effective follower should his or her own advantage what sense take good care of your physical aspect. Learn, study, learn new things as well. Think deeply. You have to call, you have to sharp the saw. Okay? So these are things or follower should do. Okay? I hope I am still online. Nevertheless, I have to proceed because we might be run out of time. Okay? Now, on the influence, take note. Knowledge. What is knowledge? Is very do mean by knowledge here. A follower who has a demonstrated record. Okay, so if you are knowledgeable, if you know of something, later on you develop this kind, which is you are the person who are skilled in a certain level. So by that, people will tend to give you respect. People will give you this kind of admiration that a leader should be money, should a person who has the knowledge, who in this way can influence decisions. Okay, take note of these decisions, and I think by next. Okay, now the power to influence is also associated with effort put forth by the follower. The amount or the it's your way of asserting of something. Okay, doing something, moving forward, a willingness to learn, to accept difficult or undesirable projects, to initiate activities via gain power in the organization. Take note this word, willingness to learn. So this is what I am telling you. Learn more. Okay, because there are things that you will do even project. Why undesirable? Because you just don't because it is part of the organization's whether you like it or not, you have to do it. So and this to initiative objectives be an organization, there are some commands or instructions given by the organization that whether you like it or not, but you really have to do it. Okay? All right. I hope am I still clear to you? I hope you are still listening to me. Okay? Hello? I hope you still hear me. Okay? All right. Okay, next. I think we discussed already persuasion. Based on our topic before, when you say persuasion, is your ability to convince others. Okay? Why is it persuasion is very important in the organization? Basically, because you are leading people. By giving instruction, you expect that people will follow you, and that is what persuasion. Okay? So, when you say persuasion giving back, this refers to the direct appeal to leaders in the organizations for desired outcomes. Okay? So, in other words, if I am your leader, I have to give instruction. By giving instruction, it is already a sign that I am trying to convince you and I'm trying to persuade you. What for? Because there is a certain objectives that we have to do. These are the what we call the desired outcome. So if I'll tell you to work hard, talk to more clients, meaning to say, by talking to clients, selling our products, meaning to say, our objective here is to gain more sales. That is the desired outcome of the organization. In which case, that is your responsibility also to follow and to perform. Okay? So, in addition to being direct, speaking truthfully to a leader can be source of power, effective followers. Okay? For as long as you are honest, leader, and you are going to work according to what is being said by the organization, and you are very objective about it, and if the you are very sincere in engaging to your followers, in that case you will never have a problem because people will give you respect and they will also follow what you are saying. Okay, so what is persuasion and what is power? Okay, so power, I think we discussed this already in our previous lessons. When you say power, these are the authority given by the organizations. Okay, who are these organizations? These are people belongs to the top management. Okay, so once you are being hired to become a manager or a general manager or a supervisor, whatever would that be, you were already given this kind of authority. A leader should always have the authority because a leader gives instruction. A leader is trying to persuade the followers. Okay. What for? Because there is an desired outcome. Okay. So power doesn't always come from titles or seniority in the organization. Sometimes it comes from one's knowledge and contributions. Okay. So meaning to say, we discussed beforehand the different types of the different sources of powers. It could either be you have the authority based on our topics before. Sometimes you get power because of your expertise and your competence as well. Okay? People will respect you, people will admire you, and that is one of the source of the power. Whenever you say something, people just follow it. You are being persuaded, you are being convinced because you are giving a high respect to the particular person or to the leader. Okay? So, be a resource for a leader. So effective followers align themselves the purpose and the vision of the organization. So if you try to go back to the first slide that I have showed you, there is an organizational structure there. It represents the number one in the organization, people down the line, and the managers, the supervisors. So in other words, as what I have mentioned a while ago, if you're in the organization, there is what we call a chain of command. Whatever the leader would say, you really have to follow. So if the leader would say, our direction goes to the west, so you as a follower, then you have to follow of what is being said. You have to go to the west rather than going to the north. Okay. Now you cannot go against because it is your obligation to follow orders. It is a chain of command. Unless otherwise, if you will become a leader and you are the one on top, then you can give the command so that others can follow. So, effective followers align. Take note the word align here. So, whatever the top management would say, then you have to follow. All right? So, you don't have the reason to question the leader. You don't have the reason to go against in the management that is what we call nation. If it is in subordination, meaning to say you are doing it outside of the policies and procedures of the organization, and that is subject to sanction. Take note of this. If the leader would say something, followers should follow. Followers should exert effort. Okay, so a leader can become a better leader when followers complement the leader. Take note of this, okay? It takes two to tango, meaning to say, if you are a good leader, you should also be a good follower. And you should know how to acknowledge the good things of a follower. At the same time, the good things about the leader. Okay, so it's complementary things. You are good, then say thank you. On the other side, you are good, and thank you also for the support. Okay, so for behavior that followers appreciate, such as listening, this one is really very important. We should listen each other. We also give some reward, followers' contribution, and sharing credit for the accomplishment. So, meaning to say, if this one here will be a better person, it is also because the leader helps him. If the team is became very successful, it is because that the follower is helping him. Okay, so as what I am saying, it is always a partnership between the leader and a follower. Okay, in what sense? They listen to each other, they complement with each other, and they share the credits of whatever it is that they are accomplished. Okay, all right. So next, so help build a relationship with the leader. Okay, so by helping and building relationship class is really very important. Wherever you go, even though in your own family, you have your own relationship with your brothers, your sisters, your mother and fathers, relatives, so on and so forth. So also in the organization. Okay, be sure that you are having a good relationship with your immediate superior. Okay, you're having a relationship with your colleagues. So effective followers work toward genuine relationship, because if you're having in conflict with your co-members, definitely you will no longer be happy and you will be demotivated. Okay, effective followers work toward a genuine relationship, because if you're having a genuine relationship, that makes you happy. And as a matter of fact, sometimes employees stay because they are happy in the organization. Okay, so with their leaders, which includes developing trust and speaking honestly on the basis of trust. Okay, take note of this. Based on our previous topics, we highlight the word honesty, trust, and respect. Okay, so at the same time, a leader or a follower, we should respect each other. In other words, whether you are a leader, you have to respect your people. You have to be honest with your people. Other than that, if you don't respect them, what is the purpose of hiring these people? Okay, so should always be the basis of trust. You hire people because you trust them. Okay? All right. So the reason why you are the leader, because your followers trust you. Okay? So by building a relationship with a leader, followers makes every interaction more meaningful to the organization. What do we mean by followers makes every interaction more meaningful? In other words, we always value and listen each other. We value our time as much as possible. Let's say if your work is you're bound to report for work at 9 o'clock, be there at least 15 minutes before time. That's a basic example. Do not be late. If your leader will tell you submit your report on or before on this date, then submit the report. Do not be a cause of the delay. Okay? When we say we are going to have a meeting, then be there. Share your thoughts. Have an active participation. Okay? For as long as you are going to be very objective about it, and in that case, you will be working together harmoniously, and the entire team will always be happy. Now, take note, if the entire team will be happy working together, it improves productivity because it each of the member of the organization will be motivated to do such work. Okay, so that is what we mean by when we are going to have a relationship with the leader. So in this case, I am not going to highlight only the relationship with the leader, but everyone else in the organization. A good relationship, it's really vital. Okay, because if you are not having, if you're having problem with your coworkers, if you're having trouble with your immediate superior, in that case, you will never be happy. If a person is not happy, then he is demotivated. Once you are demotivated, you are not happy about it. There is a tendency that you are not going to work. Number two, worst scenario here is you're going to leave the organization and you have to file a resignation. And I don't think that is good. Okay. When you're going to leave the organization, meaning to say there is a bigger opportunity. Okay. But in reality of life, being unhappy or happy, something that is unpredictable in the organization. It really happens. If you're having conflict with your coworkers, sometimes it's normal. But sometimes it comes in the different flavor because it is a person who doesn't understand your point or the other way around. Okay, that's the reason why there's always conflict. Now, and that is also the point that even though you're a leader or you are a follower, you should always have to have an open mind to understand, have patience, respect others' views, etc., so on and so forth. In other words, as much as possible, don't be a cause of a problem. Do not be a source of a problem, but be a source of a solution. Okay? So view the leader realistically. In today's world, let's say to view leaders, to give up idealized images of them. Okay? So in other words, let's say of who would like to project of who you are, it doesn't count that much. Okay? So if you are trying to pretend that you are better than them, you are above others, I don't think it will work out. Okay, you are too idealistic, it is okay,
Sir?
but sometimes it's the way you project yourselves in terms of yes. Hello?
Excuse me, sir. Yes.
You still hear
You
me?
can hear
Hello? Hello?
my
Okay.
voice, sir. Hello? Excuse
All
me.
right. So the view leaders to give up ideals images, the way in which a follower perceives his, yeah.
Hello, sir. Excuse me.
I hear your voice, but
Excuse me, sir. Hello?
yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. Can we help you to share screen,
Yes,
sir,
yes, I hear
maybe?
you.
Hello, sir?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Can we help you to share screen, sir?
Yes. Question?
Yeah.
And we want to help you to share the screen. I know which slide, sir.
Hello, Dr. Amil. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Yes? Hello? Yes, yes. Yes. Sound is garbled. Yes? Hello?
Hello, sir. Can we help you to share screen, sir? May I know which slide, sir?
Do you still follow?
Hello?
Do you still follow? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Hello. Yes. Yes, sure. Keep copy. How am I? Yeah, you can I you not seeing my screen anymore? Yes. Do you
No, sure.
do you see my screen? Hello?
Share.
Yes, how again? Could you send your
Yes, sir.
oh, we know. Okay, copy. We already have the PowerPoint. You have the Oh my God. You okay? Hello? Do you have it now?
Teman-teman bisa dengar suara saya nggak?
Bisa, Bu.
Bisa, Bu.
Bisa, Bu.
Oke, ini kayaknya Dokter Ramil memang sama sekali nggak bisa ini ya, nggak bisa berbicara di kelas karena sinyalnya error. Dan masih ada beberapa slide, lumayan banyak ya, 10 slide kalau nggak salah. Jadi lebih baik kelas ini diselesaikan saja, hari ini sudah selesai, kita sambung lagi minggu depan aja ya, karena useless juga, karena Prof. Ramil nggak bisa ngisi kelas juga, karena sinyalnya sudah nggak bisa diapa-apain lagi katanya, sudah memang jelek sinyalnya. Itu nggak apa-apa ya?
Ya,
apa-apa.
Bu, tidak apa-apa.
Oke, jadi kelasnya diakhiri saja. Saya akhiri, saya mewakili Pak Hanafi karena Pak Hanafi juga sinyalnya lagi nggak oke katanya. Jadi terima kasih sudah berpartisipasi dalam kelas ini. Kita sambung lagi minggu depan ya untuk menyelesaikan topik followership ya kalau nggak salah hari ini topiknya. Gitu ya. Terima kasih, kita ketemu lagi next week. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Iya,
Oke.
untuk presensinya nanti saya kirimkan di WA grup saya, teman-teman.
Baik, Pak.
Baik, Pak.
Oke, terima kasih Bu Yudi dan juga teman-teman. Saya silakan untuk bisa di end meeting.
Baik, Pak. Saya izin end meeting, teman-teman. Terima kasih.